Terry Blackburn here. I have a property portfolio worth over £10 million. I've built and sold multiple companies, some in seven-figure deals. I wrote two successful books, one won awards all over the world. All of these awards behind me are national and international awards for some of my companies. Coach people one-on-one, and I run masterminds. Now, if you like what I talk about in this session, if you listen to my podcast, you follow us on Instagram, you follow the YouTube page, if you like what I talk about and I resonate with you and you can relate to me, jump on my website, which is terryblackburnproperty.com. All of the different services that I have is on there. I'd love to work with you and I'd love to help you get to where you want to be, whether that's in property, whether that's in business, whether it's in sales, goal setting, whatever it is that you want to achieve and want to learn. I'm your man. Enjoy the rest of the episode and speak soon.
Hi and welcome to the Rags to Riches show with myself, Terry Blackburn. So this episode is all about how to negotiate heavy discounts on your property investments. If you go on Rightmove, anywhere in the country, there is an abundance of properties, right, that will meet whatever strategy it is you're trying to achieve. The property might meet the criteria. It might be in the best location or your location. It might be the right number of bedrooms. It might be perfect for your strategy, but if you overpay, the deal doesn't stack. So in order to make the deal stack, you need to get it at the right price. And everyone knows the phrase, you make money when you buy your property, not when you sell it, as long as you get it at the right price. So you all know my sales background. I'm very into negotiating, persuading, and I've got some tips here. I've got 7 tips that are going to help you negotiate heavier discounts on your property deals. It obviously won't work in every single situation. I wish it was that easy because I would probably own about 1 million properties by now if it worked every time. But it definitely works a lot of the time. To give you an idea, I've bought well over 100 properties over the past 10 years and nearly every one, I would probably say in the 90% of what I bought have been on market. So that's either that was on the market on Rightmove and I found it myself, an estate agent has sent me it that it was already on market, or it's been an auction. I've done a few direct to vendor campaigns. I've dealt with a few landlords direct, but it's minimal. So all of the deals that I've done, all the buy, refurbish, refinance, all the HMOs, the buy to let, all of that, even hotels that I've bought below market value, it's been using negotiating techniques. And this isn't manipulating people. This isn't doing the wrong thing by people. It's still creating win-wins, but it's a structured approach to negotiating. A lot of people just don't do this. They're either not aware of it, or they forget to do it, or they learn it and then they just stop doing it. I don't really know, but I see it still, even right now in July 2024, I still seem to be finding a lot of deals with a lot of discount. So let's get straight into it. First point is your relationships with estate agents and letting agents and landlords really matter. Now, I get a lot of deals sent to me because over the years, I've built up fantastic relationships with estate agents. They know I'm a man of my word. If I say I'm going to do something, I do it. If I say I'm going to view something, I'll be there on time. I treat them with respect. I speak to them nicely. I pop into the office. I give some of the girls flowers, chocolates, little things like that really help build that relationship. And you can't skip the reps on this. You can't just ring an estate agent up today and expect them to be your best friend and send you loads of deals. You've got to build that relationship over time. But, if you say you're going to buy something, you buy it unless you really need to pull out. Like I'm known for, I've got a good reputation in the Northeast and North Wales now. Like I do what I say I'm going to do. I don't piss people around. I don't negotiate a deal, let's say at 100 grand. And then just before complete and try and chip the vendor and try and get it for 80 grand. That's going to damage and tarnish your reputation. So just over the years, by being consistent, by regularly speaking to the agents, being nice to them, being a man of my word, doing what I say, turning up for stuff on time, treating them with respect and kindness, that will develop your relationships with estate agents. And once you've got that relationship built and they know exactly what it is you're looking for, they will start to send you deals 100%. And a lot of the time, the deals that they're sending you, it's either, we've got this one coming on, Terry, and I think there might be a deal on it. Or this one's been on the market for ages, you might be able to get a deal. Or this one's just had a sale fall through, Terry. If you swooped in now with a cash offer, they're probably going to take it. So I'm getting heavy discounts from having such strong relationships with agents that they're sending me deals. Yeah. So if you're relatively new to property, you need to start building those relationships now. If you're experienced in property, you need to be nurturing those relationships with estate agents to build them, because the stronger your relationships with agents are, like, to give you an idea, like the glamping site that I built was brought direct from an agent. The big hotel in Barnard Castle, like that I own, the bar and restaurant, that was brought from an agent. That was heavily discounted. You know the numbers on that. I bought it for 700 grand, spent 180. It got valued at 1.35 6 months later. Like, I've had some cracking deals brought to me direct from estate agents. A load of the HMOs, I agreed a HMO last Friday, 120 purchase. It'll net profit around about 1,100 quid. And the refurb's only going to be about 15 grand. Like, that was brought to me from an agent and said, Terry, this is perfect. I know what you buy in Newcastle. This is perfect for you. And it is. Very little outlay. And it's going to net profit me around about 1,100 quid a month. But yes, I could have found that on Rightmove, but how long would that have taken? If you can do the reps now and build the relationships with agents now, educate them on what you want, be nice to them, kind, all the things that I've said, they will start to drive leads to you and opportunities to you. And the more of those people that you've got, the more relationships you've got with agents, the better, because the more discounts you're going to get, right? So there's a method. I don't know if I coined this or if it's somebody else's, but I've said it to people for quite a while. So it's the shoot down and pick back up method, okay? So the shoot down and pick back up method is when you've viewed something and you then ring the agent and you talk about the property, okay? So what some people do is they'll just shoot it down and they'll say, oh, it needs a boiler, it's in a bad street, it's really run down, it needs a rewire, blah, blah, blah. And because of that, I can only offer this, right? That's just a negative offer. People don't generally respond well to negativity, right? We all know that. So that's just a negative way of offering. In my opinion, that doesn't work that well and that often. Might work sometimes. There's always exceptions to every rule. A shoot down and pick back up, as you started a little bit, well, you start by being nice to them. Hi, how are you? How's your day been? What have you been up to? Are you busy? All the niceties. Then you shoot down the property. So you highlight the negative points about it. So, I've viewed the property, but, have you been? Oh, no, I haven't been. Well, it needs quite a bit of work, it smells of damp. Like, the bathroom's minging. Like, have you seen the kitchen? Like, them green unit. Like, that type of conversation, still lighthearted. I'm still, my tone of voice is good. I'm not all monotone and all down like this. My tone of voice is still relatively positive, but I'm shooting it down. It needs this, it needs that. It probably needs about 30 grand spent on it. It needs a lot of work, And then the pick back up starts. But that being said, I really do like the property. It's in the area that I normally buy in, and I think I could make it work, but I can't offer anywhere near that asking price. It does need that much work. So with that in mind, I don't want to insult the vendor. What do you think they're going to take? Because anybody buying this is going to also understand and appreciate that it needs so much work. So what do you think the vendor's expectations are? So what I've done there is I've niceties first, I've shot down the property, but then I've picked it back up. And the psychology behind this is if you're ending it on a positive note, yeah, as in, I like the area, I think I could make it work, but just at a different price, then what you're doing is you're ending it on a high. So then generally when they go then back to the vendor and they say, hi, Mr. Vendor, I've got this guy, he's looking to buy the property, he can only offer this much, but it's because it needs that much work. See, I'm ending the conversation quite positive. So therefore he or she is then going to go back to the vendor, hopefully with a positive tone and a positive manner, and present my offer. Therefore, I'm more likely to get a discount. Whereas if it's just a really negative conversation, oh, the property's terrible, it's this, it's that, and that's why I'm offering 50 grand. Yeah, do you know what I mean? That's ending, you call with the agent in a negative manner. Therefore, he or she's going to go back to the vendor in a negative manner, and it's going to come across. Then he or she, the vendor, is less likely to say yes or even offer, any form of price back. So the shoot down and pick back up method really, really works. I've done another couple of episodes on how to present your offer by providing proof of funds and all of these things. So maybe it's worth listening back on one of those episodes. just to save time. So point 3 is if you offer one price on one property, it then becomes a yes or a no, or maybe's a counter. Okay, so let us give you an example. So you see a property, it's on for 100 grand, and you go to the estate agent and say, you shoot down, pick back up method, and I can only offer 75 grand. That's then, he's going to go back to the vendor and he's going to, potentially counter, potentially not. In my opinion, and this applies to sales, business, and everything else, if you offer multiple offers, the vendor, the seller, is more likely to pick one or anchor towards one than the other. So if you're trying to do assisted sales or lease options or anything quirky, this is a definite. But let's say that same example, it was on for 100 grand. And I said, right, I can do a 60 grand cash offer, complete in 3 weeks. Or I can do a mortgaged offer and complete in 3 months for 75 grand. Or I could potentially do a lease option with an exchange with delayed completion of 2 years for 95 grand. And then you put that on an email and you send it to the estate agent and say, send this to the vendor and let us know what he or she thinks. What happens is the psychology behind this is when you present offers to somebody, as in 1, 2, or 3, or maybe just 1 or 2, what happens is the person that you're trying to sell to or whatever it is, whatever situation you're in, when they look at it, they generally think, right, well, this person's more, subconsciously this person's more open to negotiation than just if it's one offer. Because when they see multiple offers, when it's 3 offers, by the way, a lot of the time they go for the middle one. But when they look at multiple offers, that signals to them, right, there's more negotiation. Or they might think, right, well, option 2 is better than option 1, so I'll offer option 2, but I want this, this, and this. Or a little bit more than option 2. Do you know what I'm saying? If you just offer 1, it's then yes or no a lot of the time. Offer multiple offers, invites the dialogue, opens up the conversation, opens up counters more. And sometimes people will just go for if speed's more important to them, they'll go for the low cash offer. If money's more important to them, they'll go for the higher mortgaged offer. Yeah. But offering multiple offers or multiple proposals will definitely increase your conversion rates. And especially on that example when I said 60 grand with a 3-week completion, if that vendor is massively motivated, they're thinking 3 weeks for me money, I'll take that. I'll take that all day long, over even 10, 20, 30 grand more if they've got to wait 3 months. Because realistically, if you're buying with a mortgage, it is 3 months. So multiple offers, cash, mortgage, or delayed completions, whatever, definitely will help you secure more discount on a property deal. Point 4, great book to read is Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. And that's all about, let's say, we'll use another example. Let's say a property's on for 100 grand and you've worked out your numbers and the maximum you can offer is 90k, let's say. So if you go straight in and say, so Mr. Vendor, you position it obviously in a better way, I can offer you 90 grand. What are they going to do at that point? They're probably going to come back at 95 because they're splitting the difference between the asking price and what you've offered. So instantly, they're forcing you up, right? So you never start with your highest offer. You anticipate a counter, certainly in property. So if your max is 90, you need to be going in at 83,750. Always make it a different number. Don't offer 85, because if you offer 85 and they're at 100, where are you going to end up? You're going to end up at 90, maybe it's 95, maybe it's 92 and a half. If I offer 81,500 or 83,750, I might go to 85. You're forcing them down, yeah? Again, I've done another episode on this. Read the book, it's fantastic. But let's just simplify it even further. So let's say they're at 100, you're at 90. When you offer 90 and they're at 100, you're going to 90. You're going to 95, aren't you? So if you offered 87, you're more likely to get 90 or 85. And even if you offer 90 and they want 100, right? You offer 90, it's on for 100, they come back with 95. Some people will be inclined just to go to 92 and a half. When you do it that way, they're forcing you up. So when it's on for 100, you offer 90, they come back with 95. My approach in that will be, I can do 90,500. You give them a tiny bit. You never split the difference. You never meet in the middle. You give them a tiny bit of leeway. And a lot of the time you've got to give them something because they feel like you're strong arming them if you don't. If you just say, no, I'm not budging on 90, that works sometimes, but sometimes give them 500 quid, give them $1,000, because there's nothing in the big scheme of things. It will just you'll naturally get more discount. Of course, yeah. So there's a thing called price banding, which we're probably not going to have time to do it today. I'll maybe do another episode on it if people are interested. But price banding is where your first offer starts and where you want it to end up. Like that example, if you go for 97.5, you're instantly going to go to 100. If you're offering 105, it's going to go to 110. If you're offering 115, you're probably going to go to 125. There's price bandings, right? And you've got to be aware of those price bandings first and always anticipate the counter when you're offering on something. A lot of this is sales training, but read the book, fantastic. Never split the difference. Another point is, like, I don't believe if you want to get heavily discounted properties regularly, like I do, you need to do volume of viewings, or you need to get somebody to do volume of viewings for you, or you need to analyze volume of deals pretty much weekly. I still analyze deals every week. My team in the office do a lot of that for me now. They'll do the physical viewings, but I'm still looking at numbers on deals every single week because it keeps us sharp. And if you view 10 properties a week and you offer on everything really low, you are going to get some of them that say yes. It's a bit of a numbers game. If you view one property a week and you offer dead low on it, you might get frustrated because you're not getting any discounts on your deals because you're just not viewing enough. You can't skip those reps. If you want the heavy discount and stuff, I've had stuff 50% below market value, 50% lower than the guide price and the listing price. I've had loads at 40, loads at 30, and I have had some at 50. But you can only do that when you're literally doing volume of viewings. Yeah, you can't skip those reps. I think another point is here, if you're struggling to do any of this, if you're struggling to, let's say, work out numbers, you're struggling to find good deals, you're struggling to raise money to actually buy these deals, you're struggling to build relationships with agents or negotiate, a simple way of doing it, and it's not a cost, it's an investment, is get a mentor. Because whether it's me or somebody else, like, they will help you do this. And yes, if you pay them a few grand a year, like, that's one deal where you can save a few grand, which more than pays for the mentor. Like, it is worth the investment. I've had multiple mentors in the past. I've just paid a lot of money to be part of a mastermind down in London, and I'm still learning. Everybody's still learning. You've got to get a mentor. You don't have to get a mentor. You will fast track your success and your progress if you get a mentor, because there's somebody out there who's doing what you want to do, and there's somebody out there who's been where you currently are and they've got past it. So you just need to learn from them. Simple as that. And I think the last point, sort of 2 points mashed together here, is first one is be likable. So think about this, right? If you ever met somebody, maybe he's in a bar or a restaurant, and you instantly just think he's a dickhead or she's horrible, right? We've all had that, right? Would you want to do business with that person? No, and half the time you've only just met them, right? So what gives you the impression that him or her is a dickhead? It's their aura, it's their voice, it's their body language, it's the way they speak, how they speak to you, how they engage and all of that, right? So if you are like that, you are less likely to get deals. So becoming likable is a skill. So that's as simple as smiling, eye contact, being polite, body language, just being a nice person. And that links directly to getting better at sales. I talk about my method of selling anything, which is like, listen, trust, buy. I've done an episode on this. Be likable first. Say the right things when they're starting to listen to you. If you say the right things, they'll start to trust you, and then they'll buy. So you do this with agents. So being likable is a starting point. If you're not very good at sales or communicating, or you don't build relationships very, very well, read books on sales, listen to podcasts on sales, watch YouTube videos on sales. Because if you can get good at sales, it will help with every part of your property journey. And negotiating a discount is selling. You're selling to the vendor why they should accept your below market value deal offer. You're selling to the estate agent why they should present your below market value offer to the vendor. It's selling. You're always selling. So learn sales skills, be likable. And if you do all the things I've just talked about, they don't really cost anything to do. They're just skills that you need to learn. Maybe there's an investment there for getting a mentor. You will, without a doubt, start to agree heavier discounts on your property deals. And as we all know, you make money when you buy, not when you sell. If you start to get 10, 20, 30, 40, 50% discount on your property deals, you are buying equity day one. So when it comes to a refinance in 2 years, you've got a boatload of equity. If you go to sell it in a few years, you've got a boatload of equity. All because you learned how to negotiate. All because you learned these techniques. So it's a hugely valuable skill. You can be talking about hundreds and hundreds of thousands of pounds here if you get this right over multiple deals. So I would strongly advise that you take those points on board, try your best to learn them and start to implement. Put in the reps and it'll all start to happen for you. If you've liked this episode and you know somebody who's maybe in property, who struggles to get discounts on properties, or you've just got a business partner, you know someone else who's involved in property, share this podcast with them. You can share it on Spotify or on Apple. Share it with them, send them it on WhatsApp or text, because hopefully I can help them just like I've helped you today. Thanks for listening, and don't just take notes, take action.